Good morning. We gather here today to say goodbye to a man who was loved by some, allegedly, and who was taken from us far too soon. Depending on who you ask, it's honestly kind of a mixed bag, but what is life if not a mixed bag? Full of the finest treasures humanity has to offer, and some that are just okay, I guess, and others that really suck, actually. But it doesn't matter what you thought about Charlie and who he was as a person, because one thing is for sure, which is that he is in a place now. I just want to end this by saying I also do children's parties and bachelorettes, and I also accept tips on Venmo, and I think that is what Charlie would have wanted. Amen. Hello, welcome back. My name is Stanzi Potenza, and let's get this over with, shall we? As I'm sure all of you have heard by now, Will Smith slapped Chris Rock at the Oscars. No, but seriously, unless your name is Leah Michelle, you probably read the title of today's video and understand what we're going to be covering, but first, let's get some disclaimers out of the way. This is a very divisive topic. Obviously, there's a lot of hostility circulating. I too sat on whether or not I would be making videos about this topic, but as you all know, I chose violence, as I often do, and as I have always done since the birth of my social media career. Since I created my TikTok account 6 years ago and started making my Heaven and Hell videos, it became a reoccurring theme that anytime someone shitty in the world dies, my comments get flooded with people asking me if I'm going to make a Heaven and Hell video about them, and I try to always make that happen. I did one when Rush Limbaugh died in 2021, I did one when O.J. Simpson died, and there are a lot more on the wait list, and I know we are all eagerly awaiting. This has always been a part of my brand. I have a dark sense of humor, and I like fucked up jokes. And whether you like my jokes or not, I've never said anything worse than anything a successful male comedian has said. So it is your right to unfollow me or block me, but it's also my right to not give a fuck. So just keep that in mind moving forward. Before you go on a mission to find out who my boss is so you can get me fired from my job, I am my boss, you fucking dodo bird. And as my boss, I'm telling you that everything my employee says and does is super chill and awesome, and they're also very attractive, and they got a great rack, and they're employee of the month forever. So please spare me the pearl clutching. My heart is not going to grow 3 sizes on this day, and if I get visited by 3 ghosts tonight, I'm going to tell them to suck my fucking dick before popping a melatonin. And I'm not telling you to not tussle in my comments. By all means, I'm getting paid regardless, but if you're gonna wait on a ukulele apology for me, my only message is fuck you, fuck your mother, fuck your father, fuck your sister, your brother, your uncle. Alright, now let's actually jump into this, shall we? Unless you live under a rock, or perhaps you are an active member of Jared Leto's cult, you've probably heard that conservative commentator Charlie Kirk was shot and killed at an event he was hosting at Utah Valley University. You win this round, Mormons. Not only was he shot and killed, he was shot and killed very publicly, and the rather graphic video of him being shot had started making the rounds on social media, sparking a lot of outrage. And many of the reactions to his death were quite predictable. There's been a lot of finger pointing on both ends of the political spectrum. There's been an outpouring of support from Republicans, Democrats, celebrities, the person you went to high school with who had nothing to say about the ongoing genocide in Gaza, or perhaps even cheered for it. And if you hated AI before, get a load of this cinema they're pumping onto Facebook. That's That's actually just a sneak preview of what they're going to use to replace Jimmy Kimmel's late night show. We'll get into that one a little bit later. I didn't realize how much Charlie Kirk AI I was gonna be force-fed on social media this week. They're using Charlie Kirk AI videos in the mega churches now.
First, I want you to know I'm fine, not because my body is fine, but because my soul is secure in Christ. Death is not the end, it's a promotion. Don't waste 1 second mourning me.
Because why not combine religious psychosis with AI psychosis? There are those on the left who climb atop the moral high ground and declare that violence is never the answer. And perhaps we didn't agree with Charlie's words, but he was still a human being and deserves empathy, a term that he himself believed was made up. Dean Withers, a liberal commentator who gained popularity over the past year because of his debate with Charlie Kirk, went viral on TikTok a couple of weeks ago when he cried over Charlie Kirk's death on a live stream and condemned anyone that celebrated it.
If you celebrate this, if you don't condemn it, if you're happy, there's a clear line between me and you now. You are not a fan. I do not support you, and I do not want you to support me.
Yeehaw, cowboy! Who does this newborn baby think he is, scolding his audience like a parent? He's not even old enough to drink! This is an issue I have with so many people on the left, mainly liberals. Because they care more about being the good guy. They care more about looking morally superior than they do about the things they supposedly advocate for. Charlie Kirk spent his entire career saying that black people were stealing jobs from white people. He said that abortion was worse than the Holocaust. He made a joke about Gaza being bombed and followed it up with stupid Muslims. And that's just to name a few. I mean, truly, we're supposed to mourn this man? Do you want us to have a moment of silence? Okay, no, if that's what you want, let's roll the in memoriam.
Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder. I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm gonna be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders, they commit more arsons, they commit more kidnappings. That's not a war on drugs, that's a culture problem. Why are so many blacks committing murders outside of their population?
I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year, so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God.
And this is my other problem with death penalty. It takes too long, too many appeals. Expensive. It should be public, it should be quick, it should be televised. I would totally tune in to see someone get their head chopped off. And you know what? I want to watch that execution. That'll make my day better. I want to see him on a public block and get him be publicly executed.
Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today. They were less murderous. There was less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil. But what happened?
A certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day.
Hey, if you as a gay person would go to Gaza, they'd throw you off of tall buildings, right? Now they don't have any tall buildings left, so I don't... Is that too soon? I'm sorry. Maybe you shouldn't kill Jews, stupid Muslims.
Why are any of the people who were targeted by him expected to mourn his loss? I'm really sick of this idea that we're always supposed to choose the high road to prove that we're more just and moral than the right. It's not helping anyone. It's certainly not winning us elections. All it is doing is making you feel better. And you're allowed to have a human reaction to watching the suffering of others. It was a shocking video. No more shocking than any video coming out of Gaza for the past 2 years. But if you reserve that empathy for popular white men, that says a lot more about you than it does about me. And yes, he had a family, but you know who else had a family? George Floyd. But Charlie Kirk didn't care about that when he called him a scumbag. He had no compassion for people who met his same fate. If it had been me or you in that chair that day, he would not mourn your loss. In fact, he might have even joked about it. And some people might be like, well, that's what sets us apart from them. When they go low, we go high. If the thing that sets me apart from these people is that I'm nice to them when they want me dead, pass. Now, I'm not outraged by Dean Withers. I'm not surprised. He's gotten his lashings from the internet. But the best thing to come out of this situation, because the internet is undefeated, is Dean X Charlie fanfiction. That's right, and I say that as if I also didn't fucking write some. They're writing Dean X Charlie fanfiction and making edits of them on TikTok. This is the most unserious timeline. Dean, if you're listening to this right now, from the bottom of my heart, best of luck with the pregnancy. Omega writes, "Empreg to all, and to all a good night." Moving on. We of course immediately had MAGA loyalists blaming all of this on the left before the body was even cold.
This is such bullshit! I've never been so pissed in my whole life! And this murder Charlie Kirk right here in Utah! I'm so freaking pissed right now! This is bullshit! I just saw blood squirting out of his neck! I love that guy! He would have been our next president! I am so pissed right now! Why do they always come with fucking violence? God damn it! Use your freaking words and start talking to you people! Who shot Charlie Kirk? I'm driving in a promo right now! I'm so pissed! Damn it!
The left has a violence problem, and Charlie Kirk being shot is proof. Well, Trump just announced that Charlie Kirk did pass. No, he didn't pass. He was fucking murdered. So here's my message to the President of the United States. I'm not going to say that I speak for everybody else or anybody else. But as a taxpaying citizen of this country who has spent years being attacked by the vile left, we want true justice. So give us the green light or handle it yourself with the military. Each and every one of them. All of them. We want public executions because you see it hasn't been freedom for all in this country over the last 5+ years. This country has been ran through by the left. We have been forced into silence or threats of our lives being taken from us. Some have actually lost their lives due to that, the latest being Charlie Kirk. So I ask, give us the green light or do it yourself. But one way or another, we aren't living with the vile left anymore. And if anybody thinks that this is going to scare us into hiding or being quiet, it just did the opposite. I do hope you handle them swiftly, because one way or another, there's no going back. There is no peace. It's over.
Mr. President, I implore you, call for a civil war. Call for a civil war and let us do our thing. Let us go door to door, street by street, and clean this country. Please, if you're watching this, and you share the same sentiment, send it to Donald Trump, share it on your page, whatever. Get this message out there. This is not a joke. I'm a peaceful man. Time for peace is over. I'm willing to fight, I'm willing to die. We are all Charlie Kirk.
This must be the branch of the Avengers they station at Hobby Lobby. It shouldn't come as a surprise that the party who blacked out over Cracker Barrel's rebrand is now calling for a civil war against anyone on the left. They were truly rooting for the shooter to be an illegal, transgender, furry immigrant that supported Kamala Harris, but they were once again foiled by the white man with a nearly undefeated winning streak. You know what they say, do what you love and love what you do. And although there has been no confirmation about his political affiliation, some are speculating that he has ties to a far-right group known as the Groypers, started by Nick Fuentes. I didn't know who Nick Fuentes was until right after the 2024 election, when he posted this tweet that led to him getting doxxed. I actually made a joke about it, which led to some of his followers calling in death threats to a comedy venue that I was performing at, and I had to get police escorts in and out of the building. Oh yeah. Good times. It's in these moments when you start receiving death threats and getting doxxed where you take a step back and reflect on your life and you're like, I made it. But although nothing has been confirmed about his political affiliation, that has not stopped the right from declaring war on the left, including the president and vice president.
Well, the problem is on the left. If you look at the problem is on the left. It's not on the right, like some people like to say on the right. The problem we have is on the left. You know, they're already under major investigation.
So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer.
Antifa is terrible.
Are there other groups that you can think of?
There are other groups, yeah, there are other groups. We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes.
That's right, Trump wants to hit protesters and leftist groups with RICO charges, while J.D. Vance got on camera, much to the dismay of anybody with eyes, and encouraged people to start calling the employers of anyone who's had anything less than nice to say about Charlie Kirk. Totally normal behavior coming from the top two leaders of our country. You better say nice things about President Trump's favorite podcaster, you're gonna be sorry. And that would be funnier if it weren't actually true because, as we've recently learned, Jimmy Kimmel was just fired from ABC over his comments about Charlie Kirk. I mean, surely he must have said something unforgivable and heinous. Let's roll the clip.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it. In between the finger pointing, there was grieving. On Friday, the White House flew the flags at half-staff, which got some criticism. But on a human level, you can see how hard the president is taking this.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House, which is something they've been trying to get, as you know, for about 150 years. And it's going to be a beauty.
Yes. Okay. He's at the fourth stage of grief, construction.
Oh, was that it? Was he just saying what was happening? That fiend! Boo! 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 Forgive me if I'm struggling to follow. I am just a girl, after all. But based on the many reactions that I've seen from MAGA supporters threatening to eliminate anyone on the left, and Trump himself saying that this is a problem with the left and not the right, I don't really see how anything Jimmy said can be interpreted as anything other than an accurate statement. This coming just months after Stephen Colbert's cancellation has set a scary precedent, one that faithfully follows the fascism playbook. And many are trying to spin this, saying that it's just business. ABC has the right to cancel any of their shows whenever they see fit. It's just business. But it's not just business, and we know that it's not just business, regardless of how you try to spin this. We know this because Brendan Carr, the chair of the FCC, pressured ABC to drop Kimmel after threatening legal action, and they caved. But what really drives it home is this tweet from Variety. Jimmy Kimmel Live will be replaced Friday by a Charlie Kirk tribute special on Sinclair's ABC affiliate stations. The company is demanding Kimmel apologize to Kirk's family and send a meaningful personal donation to them and Turning Point USA, the organization Kirk founded that advocates for conservative politics in high schools and colleges. Mr. Kimmel's remarks were inappropriate and deeply insensitive at a critical moment for our country, Sinclair's vice chairman Jason Smith said in a statement. We believe broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful, constructive dialogue in our communities. We appreciate FCC Chairman Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters by the big national networks. Not only do you fire Jimmy Kimmel over an utterly mild comment, you also demand that he apologize to the family and give them money? Is Daddy's work trip with Jesus not going according to plan? Is the blueberry budget starting to take a toll on you? Where are you getting those blueberries, by the way? Erewhon? But not only that, they demand that Jimmy Kimmel make a donation to Turning Point USA, Charlie Kirk's company that he used to spread hateful rhetoric across the country. You're demanding that Jimmy Kimmel give his own money to an organization that pushes hateful conservative ideology. And again, Jimmy Kimmel didn't say anything disparaging about Charlie Kirk. In fact, his comments were way less savage than a recent comment made by Trump himself.
Charlie said, that there was no such thing as hate speech. He obviously, no one anticipated what happened to Charlie, but you have always been
I'd ask Charlie if he needs some ice for that burn, but I know it would just melt based on his current place of residence. This unbelievable overreaction to Jimmy Kimmel is almost laughable because just days before his show was canceled, a Fox News host was called out for saying, "We should euthanize homeless people." Oh yes, that is not an exaggeration. He said we should kill homeless people.
Or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill them.
Yeah, Brian, why did it have to get to this point?
And yeah, he still has a job to the surprise of absolutely no one. And I'm sure none of the folks fuming over Jimmy Kimmel's nothing burger comment had anything to say when Alex Jones spent years of his career calling Sandy Hook a hoax with paid actors, which led to InfoWar fans harassing the grieving families for years, which then led to them filing a lawsuit against him, which they won. I don't seem to recall Jimmy Kimmel encouraging acts of violence or calling Charlie Kirk's death a hoax, but apparently if you're not gargling on the seed of the president and friends like a good little talk show host, you'll get the belt from the network. And no, it doesn't stop there because it never stops there. Immediately after, Trump hops on Truth Social and says, "Great news, America. The ratings challenge Jimmy Kimmel show is canceled. Congratulations to ABC for finally having the courage to do what had to be done. Kimmel has zero talent, quite frankly, and worse ratings than Colbert, if that's even possible. That leaves Jimmy and Seth, two total losers on fake news NBC. Their ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC. President DJT." Now, anyone with critical thinking skills already knew that the administration was directly responsible for Kimmel's cancellation, but in case you needed it literally spelled out for you, the president just publicly pressured NBC to cancel Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers. This is not okay. This should frighten you if you weren't already frightened. We've been saying this for years, that this is the path that we're going down, and if we continue down this path, all of us will suffer, including those on the right. And maybe now that it's rich white men who are being impacted, it'll be taken more seriously, because when it happens to marginalized communities, people scramble trying to find a way to justify it and distance themselves from it to maintain a certain level of comfort, but fascism spares no one. You're just further down on the chopping block. So Colbert is out, Kimmel's out, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna replace Kimmel's slot with a Charlie Kirk tribute. This is fucking insane. He's a podcaster, a man with a microphone. He wasn't a politician, a world leader. He was a guy with a microphone that the president liked. Can you imagine if Kamala Harris was president and she canceled Fox News and replaced it with a segment about Hassan Piker? They would riot. They would storm the fucking Capitol. Again. A lot of people have been canceling their subscriptions. The right is also going to Starbucks now and asking the baristas to write Charlie Kirk's name on the cups. Some of them are even demanding that Starbucks rename Charlie Kirk's drink order to the Charlie Kirk. His drink being mint tea with honey. Maybe we should add fuel to the fire. Why not go to Starbucks and tell them your name is Jimmy Kimmel? Let's find out Jimmy Kimmel's drink order. I am Jimmy. You know, I gotta say, Starbucks is always at the scene of the crime. If there's a controversy happening in the world, big or small, they're somehow always involved. Maybe lay low for a bit. Let Duncan take the hit for once. You might hate Kimmel and Colbert, and you don't have to like them. But if you care about free speech, which many of you claim to, you shouldn't be cheering this. And many of them are, despite the fact that this action is in direct opposition to Trump's own promises.
I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America.
Are we for free speech or not? Oh, free speech. Oh no. I meant me speech. When me talk. Me talk is fine. No, you talk. No. No, you talk, but me talk good. Me talk good. Me talk good. Me talk good. No, unfortunately, freedom of speech was one of those seasonal flavors, but fret not, because pumpkin spice is back. Oh, freedom of speech. I should have gotten it before it became cool. Was it so coveted that you now have to purchase it during a limited drop on Pop Mart like a Labubu? You'll know when you start seeing girls walking down the street with the Bill of Rights clipped to their purses. But it almost doesn't matter if he doesn't follow through with any of his promises, or he switches up stances whenever he feels like, because his loyalist cult followers don't really care. They just want to see him get whatever he wants. wants. They like being a part of the winning team. It has very little to do with the country or the Constitution or our freedoms. They've been indoctrinated, and now more than ever, it's so abundantly clear that they want anyone who doesn't fall in line to suffer. They're openly declaring war on the left. They're threatening the media. But there are people on the right who are pushing back, like Tucker Carlson.
You hope that Charlie Kirk's death won't be used by a group we now call bad actors to create a society that was the opposite of the one he worked to build. You hope that. You hope that a year from now, the turmoil we're seeing in the aftermath of his murder won't be leveraged to bring hate speech laws to this country. And trust me, if it is, if that does happen, there is never a more justified moment for civil disobedience than that, ever, and there never will be. Because if they can tell you what to say, they're telling you what to think, there is nothing they can't do to you because they don't consider you human. They don't believe you have a soul. A human being with a soul, a free man, has a right to say what he believes. Not to hurt other people, but to express his views.
He's right, but before I continue, let me say, I don't support Tucker Carlson. A broken clock is right twice a day. It's that time of day. I think it's important to have people on the right, like Tucker Carlson, pushing back against this current administration. Some of them do, but a lot of them are too scared to do anything. It didn't used to be like this. The division between both major parties was never this bad. It was still bad, but it was never this bad. I remember when Barack Obama was running against Mitt Romney, I thought Mitt Romney was the fucking devil. Hated that guy. And I see these videos pop up every now and then of Barack Obama and Mitt Romney's debates when they were both running against each other, and they're very civil and cordial, and that juxtaposed to the fucking freak show that we've been suffering through for the last decade is mind-boggling. And Mitt Romney now seems so normal in comparison.
I hate my opponent. He did not hate his opponents. He wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent, and I don't want the best for them.
He's one of the few Republicans that have openly criticized Trump. And I'm not mitt-pilled, okay? Don't mistake this for me glazing anyone on the right, but it didn't used to be like this. The Republican Party wasn't always like this, but they've drastically devolved, and it was accelerated by the Trump era. They were the party that believed in individual freedoms, including abortion rights. And if you're wondering how we got from abortion is an individual right to women being criminalized for having miscarriages, the answer is quite simple. Money. Corporate money doesn't pay to serve the American people, but my God, those corporation pockets look cozy. So in the late 70s, Republicans decided to switch things up. They wanted the money, but they also needed a voter base, so they adopted the values of evangelical Christians. And now we're at the point in our country where the president can be a rapechild who openly calls on media companies to silence anyone who talks badly about him, and the vice president is encouraging people to try to get other people fired from their jobs for expressing their opinions. The administration's also trying to slowly rewrite history through their anti-woke campaign, which aims to restore truth and sanity to America. They had the Smithsonian remove any mention of Trump in their impeachment exhibit. The governor of Florida removed a pride crosswalk that was created as a memorial for the victims of the Pulse nightclub shooting. They've erased transgender and bisexual references on the Stonewall Memorial website, and they've removed historical sites in national parks that reference slavery because they paint America in a bad light. But fret not, my fellow Americans, rejoice! Rejoice in the glory of the newest Trump Bitcoin statue on the Capitol lawn. Yes, the Trump Bitcoin statue.
The Trump Bitcoin statue.
They say if you rub its stomach 3 times, you'll be blessed with a Big Mac. And you know what, Mr. President? I agree. Slavery doesn't paint the country in a good light. One might say it wasn't our greatest PR move. Look, we're not the only country that's had some pretty bad fuck-ups, okay? But in my opinion, pretending like it didn't happen not the move. You can rebuild your reputation after committing crimes against humanity. Germany's done a pretty solid job at honoring the victims of the Holocaust and acknowledging its past. And Japan started making some really great animation. I mean, they've put out some really solid shows. Denial is a river in Egypt. You can't rewrite history. All you can do is learn from your past and work to become better. They spent so much time when we were in school talking to us about World War II and fascism and propaganda so that we don't let it happen again, and yet here we are. This isn't a party issue. This isn't a left or right issue. This is a human issue. There's a small group of very rich and powerful people that profit off of our suffering and benefit from us screaming at each other in the trenches. If you think you're safe because your boy's in charge, you're not. This is scary and fucked up, but this administration is not indestructible, and we need to put pressure on anyone with any actual influence to fight back. I don't want another goddamn email from Nancy Pelosi or a tweet from Chuck Schumer being like, this is pretty bad, you guys. Yeah, we fucking know. Why don't you do something with the position you were voted into? Like, what do you guys do all day besides decay? Hakeem Jeffries with his fuck-ass baseball bat. What are you gonna do with that thing, little slugger? Because if the answer isn't giving Trump the Negan treatment, you can get the fuck out of here. Hakeem Jeffries. Hakeem, the coward. His mother called you. The same spineless Democrat that signed off on Charlie Kirk Day before endorsing Zoran Mamdani. And yes, Charlie Kirk Day. Charlie Kirk Day. But hey, we might not even see it because allegedly we're days away from the rapture according to some of TikTok's most delusional Christians.
Jesus is coming back very soon, and it's way sooner than we think. I had already felt in my spirit that he was coming back, like this month.
I've been doing all this prepping for the people that are left behind, and I want them to not be fooled by what they're going to be told, because we all know that there has to be an explanation for all, billions of people just vanishing in the middle of the day or middle of the night, or,
If the rapture is happening, if the rapture is going to happen in a few days, because they say it's going to happen, that means I only have a few days left with my kids.
Guys, I'm saying goodbye to my car. I've had it for 5 years. They're taking it. No, this is my baby, man. This has been my baby for years. I'm catching a flight to heaven in September anyway. Oh, I need the car.
Nightmare's almost over, kids. Unfortunately, this is most likely a false alarm, as it is every time they claim the rapture's coming. Christians talk about the rapture like a child talks about their deadbeat dad coming home. Jesus just went to the store for milk and cigarettes. He'll be back any minute. I know it. I'm just gonna wait right here on the sidewalk. Look, I know this is a lot. Every day there's something new, and people are being targeted and threatened. But giving up isn't an option. Some people claim that an empire falls every 250 years. And our time is coming. And there are people in our country right now that are fighting every day for all of us. Every attempt to silence us should be met with the amplification of our voices. And we are seeing more and more people every day become louder and louder. There's already talk of Jimmy Kimmel coming back after Disney stocks took a hit immediately following his suspension.
A few moments later.
There was an immediate outpouring of support for him from other celebrities, talk show hosts, politicians, unions like SAG and the WGA. Also, a lot of these celebrities have recently amped up their public support for Gaza. In his attempt to silence Kimmel, every other talk show host immediately hit back. The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, just one day after Kimmel's suspension, aired a Thursday night episode with Jon Stewart in a studio covered in gold, and they claimed that the show was administration approved. And their guest that night was Nobel Peace Prize winner Maria Ressa, who is a journalist that was arrested in the Philippines while fighting for free press. And she noted the similarities between what she experienced in the Philippines and what is currently playing out in the United States. And one thing that she said on the show that I found very impactful was, the longer you wait to fight for your rights, the harder it will be to reclaim them later on. The first step to solving any problem is admitting that there is one. And currently, we are not the land of the free. We didn't fight a war to gain independence from a king just to crown a new one less than 2 centuries later. Jon Stewart once said, "When comedians get silenced first, it means the authoritarians are already here. They're here, they're not queer, but we certainly have to act now." But as bad as it seems, and it is bad, but know that this is not the first time people have faced authoritarianism. It isn't the first time, and it won't be the last time. But it also won't be the last time that people rise up and topple oppressive regimes. So we have to work together. We have to speak up. We have to hold politicians accountable when they're no longer serving the public as they swore to do. And I'll end with this quote from Jon Stewart that he said during his rally to restore sanity 15 years ago. "We know instinctively as a people that if we are to get through the darkness and back into the light, we have to work together. And the truth is there will always be darkness. And sometimes the light at the end of the tunnel isn't the promised land. Sometimes it's just New Jersey. But we do it anyway, together." Thank you so much for watching today's video. Please stay safe, stay sane, stay informed, and stay loud as fuck. And I will see you on the next one. Hello? Anyone here? Papa's home. Papa's
Seriously? Seriously, you just walked in after all this time. After all this time.
I went to the fucking store to get a pack of smokes.
Do not give me that. Do not give me that right now.
I can't go to the store to get a pack of
you
smokes?
have been gone for years. And you didn't even get the milk.
Oh, fuck. I'll go back later. What's the deal?
And how long will it take this time? Another 10
relax,
years?
Okay, where's the kid? Andy.
You mean AJ? You can't even remember your own son's name? How dare you show your face in this house again? Why don't you just get out of here, okay?
I don't need to be fucking crucified again, okay?
Please.
I don't remember you dying for my sins.
You are just...
I don't remember you dying for my fucking sins.
I'm calling the cops.
Fucking bitch.